Hi again folks, how's all doing? This is an old Trang Princess Victoria that was sent to me by a chap called Paul. He said that this was his very first locomotive and it was given to him by his uncle a long time ago. He's asked if I could take a look at it and see if I could get it back into running order. Let's see what happens under power. A wee twitch of life there. Yeah, it's trying to go. I think this just needs a good service and a remagnetise. So we'll get it into the shed and get a proper look at it. Okay then, let's get a wee look at this old Trang Princess Victoria, which is actually in pretty good condition. It's very dirty and very corroded, but apart from that, it seems pretty good. There's no real damage that I can see. Some of the linings worn off on the tender, but the decal as well, but you kind of expect that on these old things. So we've got the old Trang wheels, so this won't run too well on my layout. It'll be a bit clunky and clanky and jumpy and whatever, and a bit noisy. But the main thing is to get this running again and clean it up. So we've got a nice convenient brass screw at the front there. It'll be an XO4 motor, I would imagine. Take that screw out. Oh, it's a bit stuck. Yeah, XO4 motor. Blimey, that suppressor is almost rubbing against the worm gear there. But yeah, apart from the dirt, that looks okay. The brushes are okay. Yeah, I think it just needs a clean up, some lubrication. We'll remagnetise it. We'll see if we can clean these rods up. They're pretty corroded. Yeah, we'll maybe get them off and get them into the sonic cleaner actually. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. So we shall take this apart. Let's get the bogies off. We'll undo that. And we shall undo. There's quite a bit of pull on that magnet, but we'll remagnetise it anyway. Undo that. That should now just lift out. There we go. Release the brushes, which, apart from dirt, are fine. Take the clip off. Undo that. The slots in the commutator are well gunked up, so it just needs a good clean out, and it'll run fine, I would think. Right, let's undo this plate on the bottom. Yeah, the axles need a good scoosh. Yeah, these wheels are really stiff, so it needs a good clean out. I think we'll release this wire, I think, so I can get that out the road. Get that out of the way. That. I can pull that out. And then I think we shall stiff. Ooh. Oh dear. Come on. Out you come. Wow. That is well and truly stuck in there. I've had these be quite stiff before, but I've never had one that won't budge. No. Blimey. I wonder if we get some heat on it. There we go. Yeah, a fair bit of corrosion and rubbish on them. Is that going to pull out? Yep. Get some heat on this one as well. The idea of heating the screw is to cause it to expand and then contract and hopefully break the bond that it's got, but it'll just be rust. Right, let's have a good heat. Because the danger is you break the head of the screw, you know, one half of the head of the screw comes off. And then if that happens, oh, there we go. You know, if that had happened, then we'd have to drill the screw out and replace it. Right, finally. Probably just needed to cool down after being heated up. So, all the rods off. And we've got some... Actually, the wheels aren't too stiff. I thought they were. It must have just been the rods that were stiff. It's probably the valve gear, actually. So we'll clean the chassis up. We'll service the motor. All the other metal bits and bobs, all the screws, the brushes, these are all going to go into the sonic cleaner. All the wee things go into the T-strainer. Get the sonic cleaner. Pop that in. And oh, it's all got stuck to the motor. Put all these rods in. Give that about 25 minutes. In the meantime, I'll get some lunch. Okay, so after their spell in the sonic cleaner, all my little brass bits and bobs are all nice and clean, including the brushes. The rods, well, they've been degreased, but they still have a fair bit of corrosion on them. So I think what we'll do is give them a blast with the rotary tool and the brass wire brush, just to try and polish them up a bit. I'm just going to put some oil on them. Just helps prevent any further corrosion. There we are, that's not bad. Not too fussed about them being, you know, perfectly shiny. I just don't want them to look rusty. Okay, that's my rods looking a wee bit more presentable. Right, okay. We'll do the chassis now. So I think first things first, get the manky brush onto it. Get all that rubbish out from these wheels. I think we'll take the rotary tool to these bits there. They're pretty badly corroded as well. Right, we'll give it a good scoosh out. Make sure there's no crap caught in the teeth of the drive gear. Right, let's take the front and back bogie in. Give the wheels a clean. Okay, the motor, we'll give it a good scoosh out. Eesh. Let that evaporate off. Ideally, you'd want to get the axles out, the wheels off, get it all fully cleaned up. I think it'll be okay. And there's too much risk when you pull the wheels off and put them back on again of introducing wobbles, and these seem to be spinning pretty straight, so I don't want to touch them. Right, okay, I would say that's done. All these are done. Let's give these pickups a bit of a clean with some very fine sandpaper. So we can start to put the rods back on. So that one's going to go on this side. There only is the two rods, so it's fairly straightforward. There we go. Now let's just check that these move nice and freely. Look at that. That's what I like to see. Okay, we'll do all the usual business on the motor. Just make sure there's no crap in the slots. I know a lot of people say you shouldn't use pins to do this, but I think the pin works perfectly well. You're not going to damage the poles unless you do, press really hard. Just gently scrape it out. Won't do any harm whatsoever. Right, okay, we'll get some T-cut on that. Give that a scoosh, and then we need to wait for that to evaporate off again, but we'll get the remagnetizer. Okay, stick that in there and give it a couple of blasts, and that is now remagnetized. Just give the negative side of this clip a wee rub with the sandpaper just to clean it up so it makes good contact with the brush. And then we shall fit brush on that side. Push that brush in and push it up, and then we can get that in there. Right, we'll get some oil into the thrust bearings and the bearing at the back, and soak the felt oil reserves. Okay, that should spin with the battery, which it does. We've got brass drive gear and a brass worm gear, so we can use a mixture of gear oil and lithium grease. Pop that in. Get my little brass screwdriver so it doesn't cling to the magnet. Screw that down. Right, that wants to go up through there. Tweezers. Sit there. Pickups are making contact with the wheels. And then we want to solder the two live wires onto this end of the suppressor. That'll do that. So let's put this on the test track. It should run. There we go. Nice as ninepins. Just getting the dusty brush onto the body. The tender wee going over as well. No matter how meticulously you dust locomotives, whenever you film them, you know, in quite bright light, they almost look dusty again. I think it's just the way the light reflects off the dust particles. It makes them look a lot dustier than they are. Make sure to get this the right way around, because I have put them on upside down in the past. Pop the body on. There we are. Right, okay, we'll go and pull this out the shed and see how it runs on the layout. But, you know, it's an old Triang model with old Triang wheels. It's going to get a bit jumpy on the points, and it's going to be a bit clattery and clanky and a bit grindy sounding, I think. So, yeah, but it runs. That's the main thing. So let's go and pull it out the shed. Okay then, let's bring it out. Okay then, that's Paul's Triang Princess Victoria back in running order. I cut that running session short because this doesn't run too well on my layout. It's those old Triang wheels. The tender wheels are actually hitting the chairs on the track, and it's a bit stoppy-starty on the points. So yeah, it's not really worth doing a proper running session with it. This really needs to be running on old Triang track. But yeah, all it really needed was a good service, you know, a good clean up, remagnetise, bit of oil, polish up the rods, give it a good dust down, and it's good as new. And you know, these old things will run forever if you look after them. So there we go, another one sorted. What's next? Catch you later, folks.